Well, the pit of the most recent mining here, this started in the early 1960s, 1963, and it finished in about 79, and they processed ore for a bit longer. And then, as I said, a few years ago, a company, Salgo Cars, started processing the dumps that were left behind. Now, if you look behind you into the pit there, you can see that it slopes. What? You can see that the right-hand side slopes down about 45 degrees. This is true of all of the geology in this area all the way to Barberton, because there was a huge eruption in Barberton and it tilted everything here. Now, the band of ore that they were mining was about half a kilometre thick. You can see it like that, from there to over there, and it was at 45 degrees. Now that ore was about 80% pure, which is really, really rich, which is what attracted them to this place. But also, if you think about it, as you go further down, and because the band, there's still lots of ore here, they mined 28 million tons out of this mine, which is enough to make every single car on the roads of Swaziland, South Africa, Botswana, Namibia and Lesotho today. And there's another 30 million tons of the high grade ore here, but it's so far down that you'd have to remove all that mountain to get at it. And because iron ore is quite soft, basically you can't just make tunnels into the rock because it would collapse. So it has this sort of ore, which is hematite, has to be mined in open cast mining like this. The strips that you can see on the other side are from the roads that were put in to stop, so as people wound their way down, and to stop the sides collapsing. In the distance over there you can see a green roofed building. That is the interpretation centre, which has the complete history and displays and things, which I made for this mine. It's got a nice veranda and it has clean toilets. Okay, we're not going to cold beer, but it's a good place to stop off and sit down and have a look at the view. You can drive there, yes.
Because I remember when I drive
You should have
myself.
stopped there first.
No, you can drive there, yes. Yeah. Now, the amount of ore that was taken off is huge. There are 3 of these pits. We're looking at one over here. There's another one there that you'll see fairly soon, which has got water in it. This one doesn't have water because before they started mining, what they did from the top of the mountain, remember the mountain was much higher than this. We'll see this from the top, how it worked. We're about a third of the way down. What you're seeing as the horizon is not the original horizon at all. It's into the mine. They're sectioned off the whole top of the mountain. They also, when they built this, built a railway line from here to Maputo, and this was all done by Anglo-American. The railway line took about 50 kilometers further than it should have done for the direct route in order to take in a coal mine and an industrial area and all sorts of things. So that was a form of disguised aid in order to help the economy develop. And in Maputo, it was a shallow water port because they've got so many of the rivers like the Lesotho, Kamati and Crocodile all flow into it. So it's silted up basically. So they dredged Maputo harbour and made it into a deep water port. They built a huge terminal, a new terminal in the docks for the iron ore and Swaziland sugar, which still runs to this day. And Swaziland administers that in Maputo. And they built 3 enormous iron ore tankers to take the ore to Japan, where they built a refinery specifically to refine the ore from this mine. Okay, that ore was then sold to the Toyota Corporation, who made it into little cars in the 1960s. And if you ever drove around in a 1960s Toyota Corolla, it came from here. The whole thing went like that. Now, the side effects of having a mine of this size, because this was one of the world's biggest mines in iron ore at that point, was that Maputo boomed. Okay. And the quickest route to Joburg and Pretoria from the outside was through Maputo, not through Durban. Therefore, Durban went into a decline and an economic slump, and that is why in Durban you find all of these Art Deco buildings, have been preserved, because Durban went into a slump, and by the time it started coming out of the slump, people had realized the value of Art Deco buildings and they were preserved. They had preservation orders on them. And all of that is because of this mine. It's an unintended side effect of this mine, is Durban, the way that Durban looks. Joburg also had lots of those Art Deco buildings, but they were demolished in the 60s and 70s when there was no awareness of architecture, basically. What we're going to do now is walk up along here on a path at the back up the top where you can see those railings up there, and then down a little bit. Okay, we'll take it very slowly. We're not in a rush. We can take lots of breaks to breathe. Okay.
Is there a toilet on the way?
No.
There's a push toilet.
Oh, well, that's okay.